Alright, I've got my whole file set up, ready to take on some requests. But how are we going to choose the requests? Well, glad you asked. We have the great big wheel of asset requests. I've filled this with some suggestions we had earlier. The grayed out ones are just filler stuff that I put in myself. Yeah, I can put in roller skates instead of the go-kart. Yeah, the wheel idea, like eventually we're gonna add stuff to the wheel, make it bigger, and like, I don't know, do some other fancy stuff with it. It might be time to spin the wheel. So how I'm gonna do this to make it fair, on my phone I'm generating a random number between like 720 and 3600. 2501. Let's have a spin. Alright, let's see what it is. The roller skates. Alright, perfect. Guess I'm gonna have to make some roller skates. I've already got my character in here. And this is basically just for like for reference, so that I know that stuff is made the right size. Yeah, we can have the roller skates match the protagonists. I am working with a little limitation in that I would need all the requests to fit within this color palette, which may be a little, this is definitely different than the protagonist, but I can see how far we can get. We'll make a start with some of the wheels here. Not exactly sure what type of roller skates we're gonna make yet, but it'll come to me during the modeling process, I'm sure. Let's say I feel like these should be a lot bigger. Maybe not that big. Something like this, maybe. There's a little thingy at the front to stop. Gonna be another cylinder. Let's just make this a placeholder for now. This probably should go somewhere, something like this eventually. Probably doesn't have to be super detailed, seeing that you will not be able to see this anyway, probably. So the axles or the trucks or whatever you call those will just be some squares, rectangles. Here's an idea. What if instead of roller skates, as in the full boot, we just make these little pads or whatever that you can stick under other characters? I guess that would work and make it pretty universal, because otherwise we'll have like clipping issues with all of the different characters, the different boot sizes. I'm not sure whether that's gonna give issues or not. Maybe we'll just make this bottom part look nice, and then you can attach these to different characters, and it's a lot easier. So I'm just gonna make the bottom part look a little nicer first. Clean up the insides a little. Oh yeah, I see that my axles aren't actually attached. That even required? Maybe. So we'll just do this. Have them end here somewhere. Alright, so I have this front little thing. Brake, I guess. I guess that actually looks fine as is. Let's clean it up a little, removing unnecessary faces. I guess maybe this face is necessary after all. Let's pick a color for this. think we are about done with these, if you're happy with this. Design at least. I mean, we're gonna just assume we can put these on whichever character. Let's see. Maybe these wheels should match the other color. That looks fine. Let's see, how tall are these? 0.2 seems like a good scale. Maybe these need some type of strap or something. Would be nice to see you make an alien. I'm not making characters during this stream. Anything that is rigged is just simply takes way too long to make, and it would just not be very fun to watch me make like half of one thing during one stream, so no characters for these, unfortunately. Yeah, I keep thinking that I'm done as well, and then I'm like, needs a little something. Let's see. I'm not entirely sure if the strap thing will clip through certain feet. We're just gonna have one option with the strap and one without. But I think I'm calling these roller skates done for now. Alright, that's a pair of roller skates done. Let's see, what's next? Let's see, we need to replace roller skates with something else. I mean, let's see if we can replace it with something else, if anyone has any suggestions. I have no idea how many of these I'm gonna get done in the 2 hours, but we can keep them on the wheel for next time. Alright, yeah, I'll add a flax plant, even though I have a feeling it's gonna be a little bit intricate and annoying to make. Let's see, what a mecha gun. What type of mecha gun are we thinking here? Just any space, because I have a sci-fi blaster, something with too many vents. Okay, I guess I can work with that. Let's specify this as mecha gun. And I'll have to go and do another random number generation. Alright, let's give the wheel another spin. There we go. Alright, that's better not be the flax plant. Alright, let's see. God damn it. Okay, well, let me look up what this exactly is. And I hate modeling plants. Yeah, plants are awful. Let's see, back to the worksheet. And I also don't really have any good colors for these yet. But I guess I will work with it. Yeah, I guess we'll start with a plain. I also don't have a good color for this, but I think either of these will work. The flax flower usually has 5 petals. So let's see, 360 divided by 5 is 72. I've now made linked copies of these so that if I edit one of these, it edits all of them, which is pretty useful if you need to make something that is like radially symmetrical. And I have a somewhat general process for like making leaves and stuff, so I'm going to start there, which is something like this. Can obviously be a lot smaller. Alright. Do I ever use auto mirror? No, I don't think so. I just copy stuff between and then just scale them if needed. Like usually setting up the modifiers for like small assets it takes more time than just doing it by hand. Let's see. Let's add some texture before we continue so that we know what the end result looks like. But yeah, let's give this some texture. Can I make an arcade? That you are gonna have to be a little more specific. An arcade machine, yes, maybe, but I cannot model an entire arcade in like the 15 minutes or so that I would like to spend on each asset during this request stream. Yeah, I'm stalling a little bit because I have no idea how to go from here, but yeah, flax plant is definitely something. I guess that's not really what a flax plant looks like. Let's try to get these a little bit closer to center. Maybe something like this. I'll clean up the clipping stuff later. Lots of intricate bits in the head of the flower. I'm not sure, like, usually I would not model this because it's so small and intricate that it's just too detailed. But let's see if we can somehow add something here to make it resemble the thing a little more. Add a little variation here. Yeah, I can add an arcade machine to the wheel. Let's see. I made the little insides here just out of squares or rectangles because it's going to be so small that even normally obviously it would be round, but we're not going to see this at that level of detail, so I just make these out of squares. Let's see, let's remove this duplicate thingy. Put everything together. Clean up these extra thingies. Something like that. So if I Google flax plant, a lot of this is very intricate and specific, so I'm just looking at how I can get away with not doing as much detail but still be recognizable as a flax plant. So let's see if we can do something with that. Yeah, let's pick this as a base. All right, let's see. Let's make this stem. I think a square might not be enough for this, but we don't need much more. So let's just go with a cylinder of 5 sides, which also matches up nicely with the 5 petals. Apply the material to that. Quickly give it the green color so we can get started. And then let's see. Probably something like not too many bends. Oops. I'm just gonna try to slide the, like just, well, let's see, just the heads of the bulbs even further up the texture, so we can get more of a, I don't know, make it look more like the plant. If I move this up and down, we get a little bit of color variation. And then let's fix yeah, let's let's remove these because I won't be able to see those anyways. I'm gonna be honest, I really hate modeling plants, so I'm gonna just have to, for the sake of time, call this good on the flax plant. I'm not sure if this is exactly what you had in mind, but it's gonna have to do it. I'm sorry. Alright, great. How did I discard the lightning pass to the texture? Yeah, I'm doing that. Maybe you cannot see it on stream properly, but I have the shading panel open right here. So if I then Control-Shift-click the texture, it hooks up the texture directly to the viewer, bypassing the principled PSDF node, so that I can temporarily remove the actual shading, and sometimes it helps. Yeah, you know, looking at what you're doing. The most interesting take so far is that I model in color. I don't usually do this a lot. It depends on the thing I'm making, but since it's very easy to just put in the color, it helps visualize the end result quicker. How's the medieval village kit going? It's going pretty well. The landscape I made for it, I can show you actually. I'm gonna just say for the rest of this stream, I'm gonna put a hold on the plants, but I will indulge you and show you how I made the terrain for what I had in the medieval village kit tweet, which is actually super simple. I just picked a big square and then I subdivided that like a lot of times. Then I put on proportional editing, and then like let's imagine I had like the buildings here and other stuff. I then went around with this selection and just basically painted everywhere I wanted to have a different terrain. And then with the proportional editing turned on, I would increase this in height. And then basically go around specific spots wherever I wanted to have some variation. Just basically eyeball this, and then you eventually have like some sort of a, what do you call it, like a layered terrain. Yeah, we have one more space. You can suggest something that is not a plant, please. It would have to replace sandcastle, so unless someone really wants to see a sandcastle, I think Taco beat you. However, you are in luck if you're looking for metal knuckles, because those are in the fantasy RPG weapons. Alright, let's see. Where is the rest of my wheel? It's time to spin again. Let me put out my random number generation thingy, 2508. And if it lands on the same green thing again, then we're gonna call it a scam. It's better not be, if it's green again, if it's specifically this green again, then then I don't know if my logic is flawed or whatever. But here we go. Alright, so maybe, I don't know, right? If I go into my random number generation thing and I put in any value between 720 and 3600, it should really be, it could have been anything else, right? Or am I stupid? But is it the arcade machine or is it the other thing? I can't even remember what the other thing was, but here we go. I don't know, like, I don't know, guys. Hold on. So I have another result. which would have been 32, 34, which is also the green. Like, what's going on? Okay, well, at least that would have been the other one. I don't know, I feel like we've had the same one 3 times in a row, which seems like maybe the logic of... I did think about this, I'm not stupid, guys, okay? It could be any number between 720 and 3600, which is 8 full rotations of the wheel. It can be any number. How is it like the same green 3 times in a row? That doesn't... No, I don't think so. The base, like, I mean, maybe I'm just stupid. I don't know. Like, the base wheel is at 0, and so then I generate something. Let's say 1922. It could have been any number between 720 and 3600, but let's go with the 1922, right? If this is anything other than the green one, we're making it. Did it just go back, or am I crazy? I don't know why this happened, but basically I'm gonna have to revise this whole idea by next time. But sure, let's just do this thing. Oh, okay, the potbelly wood stove. What was that again? I'm gonna save it's gonna be the wheel, trust me. But I have to, like, this... Scam results are... I don't know what this is, but I think it would also be useful for next time that I put somewhere on screen what I'm actually making, because maybe people don't know what a potbelly wood stove is, and it probably is not going to look like one until pretty late into the modeling. Yeah, okay, it's going to be this one. Great. Let's see. Texture, auto smooth. Where is my UV editor? Here we go. Pick a nice cast iron-ish base color. Let's see, how large should this thing be? This is probably a little too big, so let's do exactly half of that, which this should be a pretty solid size for this. Yeah, I'm just gonna do some quick prototyping here. To get like a general shape in place. It doesn't really show what the top of these look like, but I know that I want something like this, but then where it like pokes out all crooked and rickety, maybe. I don't even know if there's supposed to be two. Yes, it is your request is coming in. The wheel has decided after some persuasion that it shouldn't land on green. But yes, we're making a potbelly wood stove. Will these streams always be on Wednesday, by the way? I have no idea when or how, or, you know, just giving this a shot, and so far I'm having fun. We're making some assets. Maybe a little slower than I'd like to, seeing that we've only done 2 requests, but surely we're gonna speed things up a little bit. And then yeah, and then if I end up doing more of these, I'm sure I will do it on like a consistent schedule. The plant counts for 2. Yeah, well, I guess that if the plants count for 2, then this counts as like 4. Do I live from the assets? Yeah, this is my full-time job, basically. I used to do freelance 3D stuff. I still occasionally take on client projects and custom assets, basically, but fortunately, right now I'm in a spot where my assets are the primary source of my income, yes. Yeah, if you have any questions, like I know that this is not necessarily meant to be like a step-by-step tutorial, but if you have any specific questions or whatever, or you're like, oh, what the hell is he doing? Feel free to ask. I'll try to show you exactly what I'm doing and why. I'll make sure I have the add-ons for showing my hotkeys on screen for next time. However, I do have to tell you that even if you can see the hotkeys, I'm just pressing them so fast that it just probably like gets overridden anyway, so not sure how useful showing the hotkeys on screen would be even. Why am I using Blender 3? There's a bunch of different reasons. I'm too lazy to update is a big one. My whole workflow and like all my like internal files are based on it, so upgrading would be a huge pain in the ass. But like basically, I don't think Blender has added something that would be useful for me modeling assets since like Blender 3 even, so alright, I need to make some progress on this stove. Yeah, like I'm just doing super basic modeling, right? And the big things that have changed is like the geometry nodes and like other physics engines, different rendering engines. But like, yes, these are very useful for many different fields of work. But for just the base modeling, I'm much more comfortable with exactly what I'm used to. So I don't really see the need to update. There's just a lot of, you know, it's just annoying to update, especially like, and I understand that the longer I don't update, the more annoying it gets, yes. But the asset library may have been available since like 3.2 or something. I did try setting it up, but it was just... I got annoyed trying to set it up, so I never ended up doing it, which is that for a lot of things. Trying to figure out how I'm gonna make this door. I'm gonna look at the references. A lot of them have this like wheel thingy, and I thought at first it was like the same as a wheel on like a ship, like port door or whatever it's called. But now I see that it's obviously for ventilation. So whatever I was doing with the little donut here is clearly not. It's clearly not a good idea. So maybe this should just have the vertical, like, what's it called? Ventilation, like radiator type. Thingy, maybe. Maybe something like this. Maybe. Maybe not. Let's see what else can we do. This might work. We make this black. Do I ever care about topology being all quads? No, not really. I always make sure that it is that there are never any n-gons because it just messes up stuff. But yeah, as long as it's a tri or a quad, it's good with me. Obviously, for editing, it would be better if it was all quads, but that's just like it doesn't really matter to me. You wonder how many iterations we never end up seeing? Yeah, that's definitely true. Like, if I look at some of my projects, there's probably like, you know, dozens of things. Oh yeah, so the top of this is meant to be a stove, right? I see. Yes. I guess it's a little big in that case. Let's see, how can we shorten this? I'm not sure if I love the base shape. Seeing some other things in references here that look a little different. Might. Try some of that, but I don't want to change it too much because then I'll have to remake the little door and I don't want to do that. But this does need to be a little bit shorter, yes. All right, let's do some cleanup. Wait a minute, this looks a lot better, doesn't it? This thing flipped. And let's add a little lip here. maybe remove this. I have to do a little bit of cleanup on this before I continue. Let's see. Everything needs to be scaled and rotated. We're gonna just merge everything. Make sure these two loops are connected, which okay, what happened here? Yes. Needs a vent gate handle. Yes. Yeah. Heater plate. Is that what this is? Or do you mean something else? Actually, maybe we can do this a different way. Yeah, I do like this more. Which cut operation? What I did for this, the top here is I inset this circle, selected this ring and then beveled, and then just move this down, if that's what you were looking for. Let's see, exhaust or shroud. That's this not good. Let's do 12. Yeah, that's better. I think this might be ready for texturing properly. Maybe we want to add some like detail on the sides, or like some rivets or something, maybe something small that adds a little more detail, because the sides feel a little empty. Let's see, let's add some simple rivets. There should be 8. Yeah, it's about to be even more epic now that I'm gonna start to texture it a little bit. Add in some details. Let's see, and I also I make a lot of copies of my work because copies are free. So that's why I'm pasting this all over the place. In case I ever want to go back to these, then I can do so. Let's start off by selecting everything that is only visible from like underneath. This, yes. Inside on these. Oh, I forgot that. Why is this like this? What happened here? Oh, I see. You didn't realize a stream? No, this is pretty much my first stream, at least, of doing assets. It's more like calling it the pilot episode. If it goes well, then there'll be more of these. Copies are free. Yeah, there was once when I was doing graphic design, I was watching this video of this guy who was making like a bunch of copies of his logo iterations, and he had this like Illustrator file of like hundreds of like the most minute differences between his versions, and he was like, well, it's free to just copy it, and then if you ever need to go back to this, you can just go back to it without having to do extra work. Whereas if you want to refer to an older copy and you don't have it and it takes you more time, then it's not free anymore. So that like copying is free is this like obviously like file size isn't necessarily free, but in terms of things, it's just I can fill this whole blend file with copies of this one stove and it's technically free, you know. UV magic is all new to you? Yeah, there is. So what I just did between these two copies is, now that I've put it in, let's see, I missed a few pieces. One sec. Yeah. So what I'm doing is I'm selecting everything that is looked like that should have shading, right? Because it's from underneath. And I'm just moving them down on the UV map so that it gets a different shade, basically. Everything that facing down goes down. Everything that faces up goes up, basically. There are obviously some exceptions to be made sometimes. Yeah, it's exactly just fake shadow baking, yeah. And then in the just, I don't know, the flat view, you can really see the difference between something that didn't have any of the fake shading, basically. Alright, I'm gonna just wrap up the potbelly wood stove so we can maybe get one more request in. Let's see, let's get rid of these. Let's go into the backup thingy. Might have to still do some minor cleanup at some point later. But for now we're gonna call this done. And then we can do one more spin of the wheel. That is definitely not rigged or anything. That's definitely not gonna give us another green. I'm gonna be picky and I'm gonna put umbrella because that seems easier to make. Alright, so then we're gonna do the random number generation thing again. Even though it may or may not be rigged, or I did it wrong or whatever. This time it was 21, 28, which definitely sounds like it's gonna spin on the same thing again. It better not be green again, come on. Gonna do this 4 times in a row. Okay, here we go. Unbelievable. I must have messed up something. Oh, God. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna be lame. There's no way I'm making an arcade machine in 10 minutes. Oh, no, I guess we've spun the arcade machine. Yeah, we're gonna make the arcade machine. It's fine, even though... Let's make it at least somewhat in character scale, although it might end up looking pretty funky. Yeah, I think I just I don't know. It makes sense to me, right? If I get a random number generator from Google, and I tell it to give me a random number between 720 and 3600, it should be 8 full rotations of the wheel. So I don't know how it got the green one 4 times. It doesn't make sense, but sure. Arcade machine. Size seems about right, although... Oops. Yeah, I know, it's just like I'm a little bit annoyed with it myself because I figured it would be fun to have something other than green. Yeah. Just looking up some references of arcade machines. I want to emulate something specifically, but I think this should be the general shape-ish. Assets will be available, but not after this stream. I want to do a couple more of these streams and then make a pack when there are enough assets to make a pack out of, which at the current pace is going to take a while, but will be made eventually. Yeah, buttons are a little chunky for now. Just trying to get basically a version of everything in, and then refine from there. That's very true, so they have to like slam their whole fist on the button. You're taking away the approach of doing iterations side by side. Yeah, sometimes like it's just much easier to just look at two things and decide that this I like, this I don't, etc. And then just, you know, go from there. What am I gonna eat for dinner? Well, at this pace, the only thing I'm gonna be eating for dinner are my own words for thinking I could model this arcade machine, like, in a timely fashion. I was only planning to stream until 6, but we're gonna go until at least I have this arcade machine finished. Could not have been a more complex single asset on the list, but hey, that's fine. Then again, I should definitely not have started with this level of detail. Like the coin slot is definitely overkill, but you know, I am committed now anyways. Maybe we can turn this into a button. Minimal effort. What's my logic between selecting between an UV sphere? Usually it only involves just overall polygons, but sometimes when you want, for example, when I know that I want to make this at some point, then I'll pick a UV sphere. But so that's why I went with the UV sphere, but then I decided that for this small thing it doesn't matter anyway, so I'm just gonna stick a rectangle here. So yeah, there was some logic, but I abandoned it pretty quickly. What games am I playing? I recently finished the new Lego Batman game that I thought was really good, and I'm currently like halfway maybe through a run of the 007 First Light game. Which is also pretty good. In that case, we're just gonna do a blank texture. Make that black so people can put on here whatever they want, basically. Let's see, let me catch up. How did I make the red outline? So basically, it's just this, but with a thickness, and then just slapped on the sides. Yeah, the key capture thing is on my list for enabling stuff for next time. I did forget about that for now, yeah. Alright, let's see what else can we add to this arcade. I think it isn't... it needs to be beveled a little bit. But I'm not sure if this would be the way to do it. Do I have a version where I did not angle the sides yet? Or do I remember what I angled the sides to? Might be minus 0.1. Yes, okay, great. Let's go back. So what I want to do is make it all a little bit beveled, but not like this because it creates like issues here and too much. So I'll probably have to manually deselect everything that I don't want beveled, and then hopefully it ends up looking decent. Oops. Is the idea. Let's see, this probably doesn't need to be beveled. Let's see. Oops. All right, Yeah, so the big issue right now is that usually arcade machines are very colorful and stuff on the sides, but since I don't really want to add any textures or in general in my work, I'll need to find a way to make the sides look more interesting. So we're just gonna add some like random access panels, I guess, or like, I know it doesn't make sense, right? Let's just put that out there. Maybe some vents or something. Could be a thing. Yeah. The yellow to blue gradient you have in the bottom can overall could be interesting in and of itself. Yellow to blue. Oh, this one? Yeah. Let's have a look. Yeah, could be something. Right, let's quickly texture this. No, I don't think that it needs it. Then let's quickly put that back where it was, which was 0.1. Actually, wait. Let's do another one of these without the indents. Maybe just like a random panel on the side. Just to break up the flat space a little bit more. And yes, maybe we can add some form of like light box thingy. Which can also have custom textures for those who want it. But yes, let me just finish off this arcade machine. Do we feel this needs anything else? I'm gonna My preference would be saying no is so fine. But let's check my references here. I mean, it definitely looks like an arcade machine. Let's not kid ourselves. I'm just not super happy with this thing yet. I think we're gonna do this differently. Yeah, I do think I'm about done with this arcade machine. Yeah, let's recap. Alright, so let's see. We've made up some roller skates that we can stick underneath characters so they can roller skate. Both with a strap and without, in case it causes any clipping. We made a flax plant that was highly requested. We made a potbelly wood stove. And this arcade machine that I'm just gonna quickly see if I like better in yellow. After all, we're just gonna call it there are options here. Yeah, I was planning to do 4 per hour rather than 2 per hour, but there was a lot of like I didn't expect to spend this much time reading chat and stuff. Thank you all for tuning in. I hope you learned something, had fun watching, or, you know, got your asset made. Yeah, if you enjoyed this, please make sure to follow, and I will do some more of these streams. I don't have a schedule yet, but as soon as I do, you'll hear about it in my Discord, I guess. But yeah, thank you all for tuning in. I'm gonna switch over to the end screen now, and I'll just let that play out so we can have a nice VOD. And yeah, thanks for watching. I hope I'll catch you next time.